Oh, Ethan pushed it to an extent. No, Ethan was the guy saying it. He was the guy.
The lolcows fight back. The coverage will always be, well, they're spurging out.
Well, then where is that? Where is that? Curious, it stopped after this. Giggling and kicking my feet. Giggling and kicking my feet. Because it was just very funny watching them squirm.
How is the big sweep on when I'm just talking about it openly?
So guys, as you can see on the screen, Anisa is still going about DeOiro. So you've got, she's quote tweeted substance, which is a huge development, frankly. Mr. Cho DeOiro doesn't want the smoke, proving he was taking advantage of my husband's kindness for a year plus to farm content. He owes me money at this point. That's pretty epic. That's pretty epic. I think we should, you know, I think DeOiro owes Anisa money. I think I'm on board with that. DeOiro should give one of his pinball machines to the Jomas. But yeah, this is a pretty huge development. Pretty huge development. And she's right. Nick is dodging her. Nick is still ducking. Nick, obviously, as we covered, he looked at a video on that Empathy Enjoyer clipping channel. He covered one video, but ignored the video about him 16 hours earlier. Just totally ignored it. So people went up, bicker and argue about like, oh, well, he's done this little piece of coverage on stream. He watched this Sapienti clip on stream at this point. It's all bullshit, because the fact is, he dodges the statements about him, period. He has stopped fighting because he does not want a fight. It's just eternally true about Nick. He's just a total conflict avoidant who, honestly, he's on pretty weak footing in most of his positions. He just manages to skate by on taking the popular opinion. So we've got a bunch to get into related to all this Anisa stuff. Because obviously the other week, Sleepy made a video calling out DeOiro and by extension Augie because of Nick's condemnation of the healer impression that Anisa was doing. And Augie sort of responded to some of the points being made on Twitter, and it was a brief little fight. And so Augie said that he was going to respond to the Sleepy video on stream. And so he did. He did. Let's take a look.
Anisa anymore, right? And it is kind of interesting when you see like
ask Noah
sort
Samson.
of try and fight back what's happening, right? Obviously, there was a clip that she did that went a little bit viral. This is going to be some throwback content, right?
So first we've got Augie's coverage of Anisa here. Anisa talking about Nick.
Because I haven't covered this in like... I haven't been live in like a month. Okay, so Anisa decided...
So let's just jump in.
That she would do
Oh, wait, no, I think is the Sleepy stuff first and then it's Anisa?
Racist
yeah.
accent.
Sorry.
And
Other way around. The Sleepy stuff comes first.
welcome to the internet versus Anisa's Ela impression. It starts when Yari posts on the Leftover Stage 3 subreddit Anisa's impersonation of Ela.
I'm a big fan of Nicholas DeOiro. What can I say? You do your research.
Saying that Nicholas DeOiro does good research is so funny. So I do think they get along. They bond over the hate, and that's, you know, good for them.
You done?
There it is. I know. I said I know.
So like I said, Anisa's picked a new strategy when it comes to being a lolcow. Instead of sitting there and just taking up the ass and just getting destroyed by the whole internet, now all of a sudden she's decided to fight back. And honestly, she's saying some crazy shit. We're gonna get into everything she's saying about Ethan and Chud Logic and DeOiro and everything like that, right? But she's making fun of Gila's accent. She's actually posting tweets calling Andy Worski of Kino Casino a pedophile. Like she's dipping back into the fucking the Instagram allegations, going after Kino Casino, going after Ethan Klein and his wife and her accent, going after DeOiro, bringing up the Tonka Saw clip, the infamous Tonka Saw clip there. She really is going hard in the paint, and it's causing a sort of reaction where people are beginning to view Anisa as somebody that is desperate for attention. Although you could also view it as, no, she's just fighting back or whatever the fuck, right? This clip caused an explosion in the fucking discourse, and I actually ended up getting involved in it, and I ended up getting a lot of hate. Before we get into that, let's just see what caused this. This was DeOrio's reaction to the clip, and we're going to get into everything. Sleepy made a video on me that we're going to take a look at, so let's see it right here.
I'm a big fan of Nicholas DeOrio. What can I say? You do your research.
Saying that Nicholas DeOrio does good research is so funny. I do.
New dono sound. That will be a new dono sound. I'm making it tomorrow.
You done?
Wait, that was the Gila Klein impression? Listen, all right. In the time that we've seen Gila Klein impressions, I mean that just doesn't. That's not like a dude. I don't know.
I know.
Not only is that offensive, it's also bad. Like it's a bad impression.
Oh, I said I had one. That's my.
Augie has to be pro
That
Ethan because
sounds like
Augie's not pro Ethan. Augie's very anti Ethan. Augie has all the right takes about the lawsuits and everything. He sees all of it clearly. The only thing he doesn't see clearly is how Nick is lying. And if he does see it clearly, he's pretending he doesn't.
A character from fucking what character is this from The Simpsons? Well, I think it's Barney. It sounds like Barney from fucking. Is it Barney? It's like the fat guy. Oh, wait, this actually. Oh, that's a good one. She sounds like the bear from the Cleveland show. But you're saying Apu because she's doing like a weird. Everything she does sounds like a weird Muslim accent too. Her only concept of accents is doing like a Muslim thing.
Big fan of Nicholas DeOiro. What can I say?
Well, actually, a little Indian maybe too.
You do your
She sounds like she's about to explain why I need to join Metro PCS with a new talk and text plan
research.
with full unlimited data.
So,
Yeah, it kind of is the bear. I mean, this is not even a good impression. Nick is gonna make so much freaking money. Yeah.
Oh no, that was the famous Elon. That was It kills at parties. I had a poker event that I did that at, and it did kill. So,
That surprises me that they can actually house a party. Like, you're so mentally raped by Gila Klein that you actually just do impressions of her at parties with your friends who are probably not online. I imagine not online people. Wouldn't even really... Yeah, what parties? Now she's pretending to go to poker parties just like Gila. Oh my... Yeah, wait, that's it. Dude! Oh, another fucking... vicariously living through a fucking her friends thing. Oh, I love these poker things. If only I got invited to these poker events, yeah.
I'm a big fan.
So when I first heard this clip, I went on Twitter like a month ago, right? And I saw everyone saying Nicholas DeOrio has turned on edgy humor. Augie, your mic is muted. We can't hear your reaction. I'll land the fucking clip play. I'm listening to the whole clip. But when I first heard this, right? So I was going on Twitter, and all of a sudden,
So I don't think I don't know what Augie saw. I don't think people are saying, "Oh, Nick's totally flipped on edgy humor." That's kind of a stupid thing to say. Nick is playing both sides. Nick is playing both sides.
I was seeing like everyone on Twitter say that Nick has turned on edgy humor. And I saw this clip, and my immediate reaction was like, I know Nick. I know his position on edgy humor, right? Now, is he the edgiest person alive? No, but he does do frequent
Kuihman stream is about states' rights. I don't know
really
why
likes
you're
the
saying
Chinese
that, but
accents and
that's
stuff
kind
like
of
that. He
amusing.
says slurs on stream. He's got a show called Ultimate Rape Review. How could it make any sense that Nicholas DeOrio has suddenly turned on edgy humor, right? That was basically my reaction. And so I ended up giving a few takes on this that a lot of people agreed with, a lot of people didn't. Let me just go into my addition to the discourse. Let's see here. Ultimate Rape Review by guy Nicholas DeOiro thinks doing accents and impressions on stream is unethical and offensive. Glad to see Mr. URR is thinking about optics now, right? And he put out a statement on Reddit. I guess this is on Clipped, where he clarifies his position. He says, mocking someone's accent and second language speaking is offensive to most communities partaking in targeting Gila this way. It's not really an opinion either. There's a huge double standard in what people are allowed to ethically mock. The caveat is that it's fair game to do this if the person's hated enough. Ian and Anisa have moved on from edgelords to woke schools, but constantly fall back on tactics they used before. No bad tactics, only bad targets. Same fucking take. Your take manages to get all the way there and wrap back around to something I never said on what amounts to little more than a throwaway line. Now, my whole take on this was, I said initially, objectively it is. If Gila was black and Anisa was like, shit, hey man, what you doing?
Here's the thing, man. I've not heard Anisa like super grandstand about like words or whatever. I understand iDubbbz has laid out that everything's okay or none of it's okay, and I kind of like agree with that. Never heard Anisa say that, but they're going to project that onto her anyway, I feel like. And so I feel like she's, it's totally fine for her to have a position where she thinks it's okay to make fun of people's voices, but really weird when fans of her husband come up to her in public and say NF. You can actually have a position where you think one of those is okay and the other one isn't. Now, do I necessarily? No, I'm cool with slurs. I'm racist. But I absolutely see that many people can have a position where they're not okay with saying the N-word, but are okay with making fun of some retarded Israeli woman who says a bunch of disgusting shit on her podcast. I'm Mr. Racist. I'm going to Mr. Racist. Yeah.
That would be hilarious because it's offensive. I don't think Nick is suddenly disavowing offensive humor. It's obviously a hypocrisy argument because Anisa is a woke scolding leftist. And the reason why, now Nick never verbally said that this was a hypocrisy argument, but I just assumed that that was the point that he was making because Nick regularly engages in the same type of humor that he's calling offensive in that clip. So why would he be against it if he also engages in the same?
A lot of things get mixed up as well. I heard Augie mix up 2 points that iDubbbz has made. I don't think iDubbbz thinks saying the N-word is this like massive world-changing moral wrong. But Augie conflates, I think, the points iDubbbz has made about slurs, which I obviously disagree with, with other points that I also obviously disagree with, that he's made about the impact of his videos, where he thinks his videos made it more okay to be, you know, hurtful and discriminatory and go after people and harass people. And so he took them down. That's why he took the videos down. I don't think he took the videos down because he says, just because he says the N-word in them. I think he had a broader point about the nature of that content that he was doing. Separate from, no, not necessarily separate from, but separate from the racism or homophobia or whatever he sees it as.
Behavior. Is that not like a logical argument? Like, that's just how I see it, right? I know Nick. I know him personally. I even talked to Nick. I was like, I'm pretty sure you're not against edgy humor, right? And he was like, yeah, of course not, right? So that's where I was coming from with this, right? Now, the alternative argument is that people see this as he's posturing, he's playing both sides, right? Where on stream, he'll say something super soy because that's what appeals to his audience. But then if he gets like a negative reaction to the soy fucking statement, then he'll provide like a additional clarification. I don't really see this Reddit statement as contradictory to his original argument. And I feel like a lot of people that were like super critical of his take here on the accent stuff are not super familiar with the iDubbbz drama in the first place, or they just don't remember it, or they don't care that much, right? Anisa and iDubbbz are woke scolding leftists. Maybe recently they're kind of moving away from that direction, but iDubbbz is literally the guy who removed all of his content simply because he thought that he did a disservice to the world by normalizing slurs. Like, he went on like a super big justification for why he needs to remove his old content. And Anisa, it's the same fucking shit. She's always moralizing and taking a morally grandstanding position. Maybe they've updated their takes now and they're kind of more going into like the, I guess, like the dirtbag lefty area where they're kind of more open with edgy humor now, but from a left-wing perspective. But at least from what I know them as, they are the woke scolding leftist types.
I don't think anyone making intelligent arguments is arguing Nick felt a big emotional reaction. He was like, he felt like a black person being called the N-word in the moment where he saw Anisa do this impression. I don't think anyone intelligent is arguing anything remotely like that. I think the stronger point here is that Nick is reducing any impression of Hila to being a racist Israeli accent, essentially. He's saying it's offensive to say it's racist, basically, when simply making fun of someone's voice is not necessarily racist, even if they're ESL or whatever the fuck.
I believe he's being that offensive. That's fucking hilarious, right? Like, you have to acknowledge that you can call something offensive without you personally finding it offensive yourself, right? Him calling it offensive, to me, just logically follows that it's about Anisa and her previous positions, not that Nick is now against offensive content, period. Does that make sense? I don't really see how that's like a bad take. Tying himself a nos for a friend, you're a good friend, Augie, but you gotta know this argument is awful. Why, though? Like, that's just not an argument. Like, I'm open to the argument, right? And we'll watch Sleepy's video, but I am open to the discussion on this. I'm just saying, like, that's where I'm coming from with this, right? It's offensive, but he said in the clip it's also bad. Sleepy raped you. Well, we'll see.
Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to another video on the Sleepy channel. Yesterday was likely the most terminally online I've been in years. Typically with this YouTube channel, I like to pour in maybe an hour and a half into these videos, maybe throw a couple tweets and then move on with the rest of my day. That was not the case yesterday. As many of you know, I've had my issues with Nicholas DeOiro for months at this point. I mean, for the better part of a year, he's been like incessantly making streams and essentially A-logging the enemies of Ethan Klein, while offering little to no pushback on literally anything Ethan Klein's been doing this year. And frankly, like, that's probably my biggest issue with him. Obviously, you can go into the individual aspects of the critiques that he offers against people, but my biggest issue is that it's so clear that he has just picked a side that is financially rewarding and is digging his feet in as hard as he possibly can. And I gotta hand it to him. Last year, he made a couple $100,000 in donations. The other day, I saw him make $600 US in 3 minutes on stream. Sending this guy $200 on stream. It's ridiculous. With financial incentives this great, how can you switch away from being a Ethan Klein cocksuck? You can look at Nick DeOrio's history as a content creator. This is the most money he's ever made. It's the most attention he's ever had. It's hard to move away from that. It's crazy to say this given Nick DeOrio's physical dimensions, but he is one of the most successful orbiters I have ever seen. The issue is he's orbiting a dying star and he's trying to convince you that this is a totally normal, healthy star that is not sending fucking fireballs at everyone that looks at it wrong. It's how
Dude, okay.
How a guy that was doing impressions of Ethan Klein just a couple years ago.
Oh, no, but do you hear Tommy do the Ethan Klein voice and shit like that? He did that today. You guys did this tonight. Fucking Tommy gets on there and goes, "Yeah, Keemstar. So maybe you should start being a little bit nicer."
That's way worse.
Tommy is
the fucking. Yo, we're gonna get Tommy to start.
Tommy is a really good.
I
still don't understand why Tommy's Israel voice is racist. I don't get it.
Okay.
It's funny to me.
It's crazy. Nick said Anisa's healer impression was bad, and Nick's is so much worse. Anisa's is so much more accurate than Nick's, bro.
He's in the military, and now I am wondering why Keemstar is so mean to people.
Is now clutching his pearls, saying that Anisa Jomha's impression of Ethan Klein is offensive.
I'm a big fan of Nicholas DeOiro. What can I say? You do your research.
I don't know.
I know.
Not only is that offensive, it's also bad. Like, it's a bad impression.
It's the same guy, but different incentives. Now, let's get to the meat of the video. AugieRFC had a reply to my tweet that I disagreed with because I don't like the spirit of it. Now, I understand what Augie's doing, okay? Augie's offering a perspective that kind of defends his friend. And I think Augie's being a good friend in doing this. I disagree with what he's saying, and if I'm
I kind of chimped out at this point on Twitter where I to be fair, I kind of chimped out at this because I was like, fuck you, like, it's my opinion. This isn't, but I will say, because he is doing a nice thing here by throwing me a bone here by saying like, oh, you're just defending your friend, and then I was like, fuck you. But I will say this. I don't just have takes on the basis of, and nobody's in chat's gonna believe me, but this is genuinely how I see it. Like, I don't look at things genuinely as like, well, here's my friend, how do I defend them? Blah, 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 blah. No, I really try to look at situations objectively for how they are. Now, sometimes it just doesn't fucking work. You know, I can't control everything, right? But
no, but here's the thing, right? It's not that he's trying to find ways to find his friend. It's that his assessment is Nick's a good guy. Nick does good coverage, and Nick's a good guy. And he's trying to find how he's not wrong. And he's putting the argument, oh, here's how I could still not be wrong about that. Here's how I could still be right about Nick.
We're now 20 seconds past him saying that it was offensive. There is no claim of hypocrisy yet because it wasn't in his brain. It wasn't what he was thinking. He said it's offensive because his reflexive response is to defend Ethan Klein, defend the Kleins at all costs, figure it out later, rationalize it later.
I think it's a bad way of putting it. It's just that it serves his narrative. It serves the narrative, which is that these are a bunch of evil, anti-Semitic, pro-Pally terrorist supporters that are going after Ethan for being a Jew. That's basically it. It's just like another, it's another little tiny notch, it's a little comment that you can make that's just like further cementing that narrative, because that's the mode he's in when he's covering this stuff. Because that's how a lot of people work. They're basically in a mode, they're like, in there, you know, I'm going live to talk about iDubbbz today. I'm going to, you know, they're already set to say, he's a cuck. Anisa owns him. Anisa's scrambling his brains. Anisa loves terrorism. You know, whatever it is. They're primed to just go in and say that. And so off the cuff remarks just come out like that. Nick just steps in it because he's riffing from his preconceived point of view.
Later, the hypocrisy argument wasn't in his mind. He was thinking, bad thing said about Ethan Klein. This must be anti-Semitism. This must be offensive. This must be something wrong.
It sounds like Barney from fucking...
Okay, I mean, this take is, like, plausible, I suppose, right? But it's like, this whole idea, it feels reductive to me, like this thinking that DeOiro can't even disagree with them once, otherwise he'll lose, like, significant, like, tens of thousands of dollars, right? If he disagrees with them a few times. Like, I just haven't seen that proven that, like, if DeOiro were to disagree with, like, an Ethan Klein point, or if he were to even laugh at an Anisa joke, suddenly that would cost him tens of thousands of dollars, and therefore he'll never fucking go that far. I mean, he has criticized them before anyway, you know, with the whole, you know, he criticized the whole Reddit thing where that girl killed herself, and Ethan said,
Okay. So, Augie here is citing Nick's criticism of Ethan's position on the Save Fox suicide story as being a time where Nick has criticized Ethan. Now, people with good memories may remember that actually, famously in Augie's community, top, whatever you'd say, poster, Alex Gekmo, actually changed his position on DeOiro over that drama. Because what happened was this woman killed herself, and her husband came out with this video talking about some of the reasons why. She ran a YouTube channel, a YouTube Fox rescue channel, around a Fox rescue. And basically, there was a snark subreddit about her. Now, her husband actually said it wasn't really from online. It was from people in real life. She was saying it was other people who ran other rescues, I think, was a lot of it, he said. So there wasn't really much reason to believe it was a snark subreddit. And the snark subreddit had something like, I want to say 19 or 27. It was some number like that posts. It was like a totally dead subreddit. Barely anyone used it. He'd never mentioned Snark. I don't think he ever mentioned Reddit. And Ethan immediately ran with it and was basically saying Snark kills. You know, we have to stop Snark. This is why my battle is so important. You know, this is sort of the thing he was saying. And Nick did not cover it. Nick did not cover it. And Alec Gekmo said, depending how Nick covers this tonight, I will decide what I think of Nick, whether he's sweeping or not. And then that night, he didn't do any significant coverage. There was never any coverage. And he has just said in passing that he disagrees with it. So he also said this around that time. Probably unsurprising, but the Redditors who harass this poor woman day in and day out nuked their entire thread hours after this news came out. And Nick replies, it's fascinating how Reddit will crack down on some snark subs, but then let others run free with little intervention. Smuggle says, crazy how you're making this about Ethan Klein. So that's pretty awesome. And then I think we had a clip here.
Or other people have even said it. I knew that the whole, like the Fox person, that whole suicide situation, I was like, I don't think this is a snark issue. I thought it right away before anyone said it. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter.
Oh, so you weren't in on that? I saw a lot of people who just immediately assumed. I think even nope. Ethan to an extent kind of assumed.
No, you know what I did? I instantly went and I looked at the subreddit and how many posts were there, and they were all from like one person, and it was like 10. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people are fucking really mad about that.
I don't mean to be mean. I just feel like I think that I don't even know.
Well, is at the point where like there's so much fucking us versus them mentality that's popping up from people to the point where like we've stopped reading.
So yeah, he says that Ethan pushed it to an extent. No, Ethan was the one saying it. Ethan was the one saying it. And then he also said there's another clip. I have it on hand. There's another clip where he just says in passing, yeah, I disagree with Ethan on that. And that's it. It's so pathetic, the coverage, the condemnation, the disagreement that he claims gets him out of any criticism here. And obviously you can see, like, where is the tweet? Sorry, where's the tweet gone? Like, he's obviously, this is when it first happens. This is obviously testing the waters. This is like tepidly siding with Ethan on this story. This is tepidly saying, oh, look, look, Reddit just let some subreddits run free, and look what happened to this one. Look what happened here. Someone died. But obviously he immediately got shit for it. Everyone was immediately pushing back on it. So he just ignored it instead. He just chose to ignore it instead. He chose to move on. And then when it comes up later, he goes, I disagree. I disagree. And that's it. So the idea that Augie's citing this as, oh, Nick has stepped against Ethan. No, come on now. If someone's really saying to you, Augie, if Nick disagrees with Ethan even once for even a single second, then he'll lose his entire audience. If that's what they were saying to Augie, then Augie's given a good response. Now, no one is saying that. Literally nobody is saying that. That's fucking absurd. Obviously absurd. But from this is bad enough. This is bad enough. Yeah, it's checking temperature, obviously. Was there something, there was something else I wanted to say about this, I think. Oh, that's it. Didn't they fucking bang on about how, H3 used Etika's death against Keemstar? Basically the same claim. Same claim from the same guy. Big fucking deal back then. Big fucking deal back then. Now, though, Keem's less around. You know, he doesn't work for Lolcow. Why would he help Keem? Well, you know, he's not helping Keem out. Now, Ethan, there's a lot of money in that. So, same guy, different incentives, and all of a sudden the position is way different. No energy. Absolutely no fucking energy. Does not give a fuck that Ethan did that. Just sits there and basically lies and just says, oh, Ethan pushed it to an extent. No, Ethan was the guy saying it. He was the guy. The guy. It was him. So, just so pathetic. And, you know, the fact Augie's pushing this is pretty gay. It is pretty gay. But I'm sure if he saw this, he would say, all right, fair enough. You know, so, we love Augie. We love Augie.
Well, that's the other thing, too. That's why I wanted to provide some sort of counterbalance to it. Because I do notice, like, with a lot of people that are hated, you know, people do kind of tend to start to take the arguments too far into, like, a sort of a bad faith direction. And so I wanted to sit there and be like, okay, well, here's the counter to that, you know, because... You know, is this really, like, I get there's a lot of reasons to criticize Nick or whatever for his H3 coverage, but, like, that's what I was kind of looking at this as. Is Nick suddenly anti-offensive humor? I don't think so. You know?
Give me a break with all this, oh, they're woke scolding leftists. They shouldn't be saying this. They're hypocrites. You know what I think? I think it was a funny impression. I think everybody thinks it was a funny impression. And this guy had to figure out a way to make it not seem funny. So he said that it was offensive. You know why? Because he's not allowed to find it funny. I also find it so annoying that these people keep coming back to they're woke scolding leftists. They're not allowed to ever say anything funny or edgy ever again, even though they've been crying and begging for these people to be edgy for years. I'm going to explain this two ways. One way that I believe, and one way that's a leftist type of belief. I think we need to start by saying that was not a Jewish impression, that was an Ethan Klein impression. And Ethan Klein is Israeli. Ethan Klein simply sounds funny. She has a very goofy sounding...
This part I agree with. This part I agree with. Because I was even talking with Connor about it. Like, because I was like, the accent is inherently offensive. I no longer stand by that point. Because I do think that it was mostly just making...
That's huge, that's huge.
I was looking at it like... it was a Jewish accent or whatever, right? But that part, I would change my mind.
I won. Oh yeah, didn't you reply to a fight with Augie on Twitter about this?
Nah, you can make fun of somebody's voice even if they do have an accent or they are foreign. You can make fun of their voice without without the whole joke being about them being foreign or whatever the fuck. So I would change my mind on that point.
Voice, okay? It is comical that somebody with her voice has landed herself in a successful position in podcasting. Yeah, dude, like, you can have a general rule set that you use for everybody in your life, but when you have a fucking group of enemies that makes content about you nonstop for like an entire year, I think that those general rules can go out the door when you're approaching people that absolutely want to fuck with you and mess with your life. I'm not going to be able to find this clip, but there's a clip out there of Ethan Klein saying this will never be over, that he will never find peace with iDubbbz. He will always hate iDubbbz. You're expecting iDubbbz and Anisa to take that sitting down and not throw some shade back? Oh, they're leftists. They're supposed to take it in the ass. Frankly, like, I find this shit
yeah, but this is like lolcow content though. You know what I mean? It's like iDubbbz and Anisa get covered and A-logged every fucking day. So obviously everything that they're going to do is going to be covered in like a negative lens. So if they start to be funny or make edgy jokes and stuff like that, well, then people are going to say, well, you can't do that, right? I mean, it's just the nature of like lolcows.
Well, yeah, but then they're losing. And then the person's not a lolcow anymore, right? Clearly. Because the point of a lolcow is that it's someone that can be easily provoked into humorous reactions. If you stop finding it funny and you actually start getting hurt by the person and you have to stop covering them, They're not really a lolcow anymore. They're just kind of fucking raping you. They're just kind of raping you, actually.
And lolcow content, right?
Made back. Oh, they're leftists.
It's like
they're
if lolcows fight back, the coverage will always be, well, they're spurging out.
supposed to take it in the ass.
Well, then where's that?
I find this shit so embarrassing.
Well, then where is that? Where is that? Curious, it stopped after this.
You guys are these edgelords yourselves, and you're like, well, they're supposed to be woke scolding leftists. Like, they're being hypocrites. Okay, dude. Okay, who gives a fuck? Like, I really, this is your issue. Like, Augie's in my comments saying that I don't care because I'm racist, but that's how people see it. Pointing out that something is offensive doesn't mean that you find it problematic. Dude, again, he clearly found it problematic, and he clearly...
Wait, but why not respond to the argument, though?
Like, dude, again... He clearly found it problematic.
Well, hold on. Does he respond to the argument? Can you point out that something is offensive without you finding it offensive?
Comments saying that I don't care because I'm racist, but that's how people see it. Pointing out that something is offensive doesn't mean that you find it problematic. Dude, again, he clearly found it problematic.
It's like, dude, come on, just trust me, bro. Why?
Problematic. And he clearly did not think about the hypocrisy argument when he played this clip.
I'm a big fan of Nicholas
Okay, but why
DeOiro.
though?
What can I say? You do your research.
I don't know.
I think the issue is, it feels like Sleepy has sort of leaned on the idea that Nick finds it personally offensive, when I don't think that's really the point. It's just he's in a reflexive... Oh, he's right. Nick is in a reflexive cover Anisa negatively mode. So he's going to say negative things about it, and he has just unthinkingly called it offensive because he knows that's that's the line. That's the narrative. iDubbbz is an evil anti-Semite. They're like pro-Pally anti-Semites. Anisa's crazy and has corrupted iDubbbz's mind with anti-Semitism and crazy third worldism. And that's why he put the swastika sword in the video. And that's why she's doing offensive Israeli accents.
All I'm saying is that I don't view DeOrio as somebody that's now anti-edgy humor. If DeOrio was anti-edgy humor,
Yeah, I don't even know that's a
rape him.
claim.
If DeOrio came out, he was like, "This shit sucks. It's too far. It's wrong." Okay, I would molest him every day. I would be fully on board with it, right?
Hey, if it is, then
But I just
disagree with
don't
that.
see that as his new position. The worst thing I think you could say about this clip is that he was virtue signaling. Like, he subconsciously was like,
yeah, that's true.
saying that it's
That's
offensive
what
to
I think is
people in
happening.
his audience.
He's off the cuff, riffing, virtue signaling, because it's part of the built-in narrative that he just goes into those segments, sort of like planning, consciously or not, to say. You know, he goes in, he knows what he's going to be saying, and so things come up and he reflexively says shit like, "Oh, that's offensive."
if that's what your argument is or whatever, fair enough, I guess. But I just don't see this as like that big of a fucking deal.
So yeah, like I said, I don't agree with what Augie said here. I mean, obviously I don't agree with what Nick said. I think Nick's making it up as he goes along. I think Nick knows he's a fucking dead man walking. Channel-wise, of course, like, let me be clear, channel-wise. Like, I'll be honest with you, like I said before, I'm completely shocked and utterly surprised that he even reacted to Anisa doing the impression, because everybody knew there was no positive, easy way for him to get out of that. And I want to point out some comments that I agree with here. J-Stock goes, is there more to the clip that's cut off that makes it clearly a hypocrisy argument? The Reddit comment. So after the fact, he said something different. Again,
I don't see how the Reddit comment like is different or devalidates what he said on stream.
the clip itself, he is clearly not talking about hypocrisy. Not Chronic Sonic says, I thought you guys were dying for Ian and Anisa to do edgy humor again. I'm all for it. Augie goes, I'm all for it regardless of how hypocritical they look. It's so fucking soy. You guys are hypocrites. You guys said that you're—
Also, source, show me where Anisa's a hypocrite. Stop just saying people are hypocrites. Show me how they're a hypocrite. How is Anisa a hypocrite? Show me where she's made a statement that makes you believe she should be against this.
done with the edgy stuff and now you're being edgy again. You're like, don't fucking piss your pants over this shit. And here's the other thing. There's no
Just a valid point, though.
real like hallmarks of anti-Semitism here, right? Like maybe if Anisa did oy vey and the merchant hands, you know what I mean? Listen, those are like stereotypical offensive things to do that are considered anti-Semitic,
Yeah.
right? She
This
wasn't
part I agree
doing
with.
them. She was clearly impersonating Hila, not Israelis as a whole, and not Jews. Definitely not Jews. Listen, Augie, I get it. You know, it's your buddy, but I'm telling you, get off this DeOrio train. I know he's in the Discord chats. I know he's in the group chat saying, this sleepy guy, we got to do something about this. If you
No.
genuinely are watching
Yeah, I
that
don't think
clip
so.
and thinking, oh, he's talking about hypocrisy. Oh, he's making an argument here. You've lost the plot. I don't believe that you've lost the plot. Like I said, I think you're being a good friend. I think you saw what he said in Clip Live. I'm sure he sent you some texts, and you threw out a tweet that, frankly, I don't agree with. I think it's a bit of a silly take, but it is what it is. Anyways, ladies and gents, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more like it, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next.
Okay, some decent points in there. I don't agree with everything like that, though. And it's like, Augie, you need to get off the DeOrio train. It's crazy. I don't know, dude. I'm not on the DeOrio train, but nobody's really making content on them anymore. And it just feels so strange to even like cover these people in 2026 because they don't really do anything. Like, when's the last time IDubbbz even uploaded a video? You know?
Nick has been. Yeah, Nick has been up until this.
Like,
Curious.
what is even going on here? Oh, he uploaded 6 hours ago. This AI toy got busted. I guess he's not doing politics anymore. I don't know, man. It's interesting because it's like she's attacking them all while also simultaneously.
Yeah, wait. He put out like multiple videos about Ian and Anisa like a few weeks ago on his second channel. No, he's like, who's still talking about them in 2026? You like 2 weeks ago, dude. What the fuck do you mean?
Obviously, being it is like the least interesting time to ever cover Anisa and IDubbbz. Now she's also attacking them all. It's like she thinks that, you know,
dude.
I guess she's winning because they don't want to cover her. But
I guess she thinks she's winning because she said something and upset them so much that they stopped covering her when they thought that, you know, there was nothing that could make them win more than covering her. They thought that was like really awesome. They were doing that. They could make loads of money from it. Now they have to stop. And like, I guess she thinks that's like winning or something. I guess she like thinks that she like own Nick or something. I guess.
I want to cover her because she's attacking. I'm not sure. It is like a weird dynamic, I guess.
For me.
Like she's calling Andy Warski a pedophile. Just to be clear, like her banter on Nick seems kind of light so far. I haven't heard her say anything like super fucking crazy. But like she's calling Andy Warski a pedophile who streamed CP. She's referencing, of course, like the Instagram stream and stuff like that. Her commentary on everyone else seems pretty fucking light. But yeah, it's like, is this like we're entering like a weird arc with these people?
If you're going to do the avatar because you're insecure about the way that you look,
Instagram wake up, by the way, which never fucking dies.
you should also take a critical eye at your voice and the octave that it's in, and maybe consider a voice changer as well. But anyways, I'm shocked because now my chat is normal.
I guess the point for Nick specifically is that Nick would do a segment on them like every stream, and now he suddenly stopped when she started attacking back. They should get into blood sports. Bring back internet blood sports. If she's like this feral now, if IDubbbz is really like unchained her or some shit like she's saying, dude, fucking blood sports time.
Normal. Like it's just normal people. We don't even really have to moderate. And even if we did, like they come in and they're take a critical eye at your voice. But yeah. So I'm in a good mood because it fucking worked.
Also,
Thank you
I
for
don't
that.
know if the guy who took over a year off the internet is allowed to act holier than IDubbbz or Anisa not uploading.
Yeah, and according to Willie Mac, you know, part of that was because he was getting trolled, you know. Thank you for the dono. And, you know, I trust Willie Mac. Willie Mac does good research, you know. Nicholas DeOrio says Willie Mac does pretty solid videos. So, I don't know, man. Augie tells me that Nick's a pretty honest guy. Augie tells me that Nick's a pretty honest guy. And that he doesn't think Nick would deliberately skip anything on stream that he had pre-screened to avoid addressing important topics that he disagrees with. So I guess I'll just think nothing of the fact that he did not watch a Willie Mac upload around August last year, and that when it was brought up in an Internet Versus video, he skipped that entire segment of the video. I'll think nothing of that, and I think Willie Mac's a pretty smart guy.
think I'm more entertaining. He better hope I don't go for his wig and take his whole job. But his viewer count's already dropping because girl with a fuck-ass bun and fucking big fat bacon face. Sorry, anything fat. Harley's not fat. He's athletic.
It's interesting because she's like aligned herself now with like Kuihman's community. Like, she's like retweeting like all the clippers and stuff like that. She's using like their talking.
So okay, literally, this guy was just saying a minute ago. He's saying, "This sleepy guy's like Tommy C. Why does it have to be that whenever I'm saying something, it's some political game or I'm aligning myself with whoever?" Sees Anisa quote tweet a substance clip. Quote tweet one brackets one substance tweet. Oh well, I guess she's aligning herself with Kuihman's kitty. Bro, what the fuck you say, bro? She would fucking hate us. Okay, she would fucking hate us. Okay, I'm sure.
It's like locals don't realize.
Is that when people say like, you know, obviously me and Hassan are best friends, but that could never be, you know, publicly shown really, because it just we simply don't align. We don't align in the right ways for it to work, you know. Just I can never you always see it too. Like I see it when I get posted on Snark and shit. You'll see people in the comments being like, there's like a bunch of them that are like, don't post this guy here. Don't post this guy here. Why are you still promoting this guy? This guy's a bigger, you know, whatever. Because it's just it can never actually align. It can never actually align fully. That's the way it is.
All locals have to do, and it's not really going to help them in the long run, but it can be something it's better than nothing at least, right? Is that locals, whenever they're getting covered by somebody just repeatedly, like, all you really have to do is fight back. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to get covered still, right? But it does automatically make the person covering you less likely to cover you, because the beauty about like covering locals is they're usually just too retarded and weak to fight back. If you can figure out, okay, who are these people going after me? What are the talking points that I can use against them? What are their insecurities? What are moments of weakness? Blah, 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 blah. And you just spam that on your stream. Even if you're not the best orator, it at least is better than doing nothing, right? Is it cope at the end of the day? Because, I mean, she's streaming this to like 100 fucking viewers and obviously just begging for attention. Yeah, I guess. But it's also just better than doing nothing. It's like locals don't even... It reminds me of like Jalen. Like, Jalen used to be, like, this person that every
say something funny, you're desperate for attention, actually. You're desperate for attention.
For, like, easy content, easy dunks. And they would do this shit for years. But eventually, Jalen started to at least try to fight back a little bit. Like, people would add Jalen to the call, and Jalen would be like, Turkey Tom Kai! Or Jalen would, like, add, like, fucking Salvo to the call or some shit like that, right? It's like, okay, at least you're actually trying to fight back. You, like... You know, at some level, there are things you can do to not just sit there and get raped over and over again. So, and eventually, yeah, people stopped bringing Jalen on streams because, like, okay, well, if I had Jalen on stream, then I have to actually respond to some shit.
I wanted to see if he would do it. He would fail. I'm like 90 sure, but us bears are also really hurting from the GLP-1 craze. Oh my god, that's so
why
sad.
Why would I remember the fucking mole rat's name?
God.
Come on.
It's just always interesting when like a lolcow learns how to like fight back.
When I heard your Ela impression for the first time, I got so many compliments on that, like in the DM.
The smiling Wojak. Send that to me. Send that to me.
He tried to rip.
Jalen's still alive. Yeah, Jalen actually came back to YouTube. Nobody even noticed this. They're just using their main channel now, and they get millions of views. Now, like if you look at Jalen's channel, it's not even called Jalen anymore. It's called something else. Jalen is back uploading daily commentary, and it's getting millions of views. I don't know if you guys knew this. I don't even have a link.
Okay, great stuff, man. We care about Jalen. Thank you, Augie. So Augie reacts to my clip talking about DeOiro skipping the salute bit.
DeOiro skipped this part on the lawsuit stream. Yes, I did see a clip. Now, I don't know why. Okay, so apparently in DeOriro's coverage, right? DeOiro skipped over Ethan Klein complaining about, allegedly, I didn't watch DeOriro's fucking stream, but apparently DeOiro skipped over the part where fucking Ethan Klein is complaining about the Nazi salute thumbnail. I have no fucking idea why he
What is this? Screenshots of DeOriro's Discord getting posted on Snark. Is this real, dude? My worry on the copyright ones is if they ever went to trial, there could be irreparable damage done, but it seems like Ethan wants to settle and make them do humiliation rituals, which is kind of funny. I hope every member of the jury, like, what do you even say, man? Like, Is this real? Someone really say this in DeOiro's Discord, bro? DeOiro's paid members only Discord full of his biggest fans, the people that believe Nick DeOiro the most, people that love Nick DeOiro the most, people that support him the most, people that that's what they're thinking. That's what's on their mind. Now, I will not direct you towards any Purple Perry gaming streams. That may include similar statements.
That I'm just saying that. I'm like, no. That is by far Ethan Klein's worst fucking point. You gotta call that shit out, dude. You gotta call that shit out. So I don't know why he fucking went over.
To be clear, he didn't say it was a good thing.
And people are gonna say sweep. Look, this is what I'll say, right? The idea that DeOiro, I guess, would pre-watch a Kuihman stream before his own stream.
Here we go.
Memorize the part of Ethan's stream that he's gonna cover that night. Here, hold on. I'm laughing so hard, man. Hold on! You fucking asshole. You fucking prick. Kuihman's, by the way, been farming me all week.
Yeah, I was in chat, and I was legit, dude. When he started talking about this, I was fucking losing my fucking shit at my desk, dude. Sitting here just fucking, you know, laughing my ass off. Giggling and kicking my feet. Slapping my knee. You know, having a real good time. Because it was just very funny watching him squirm. It was just very funny watching him squirm over this topic, man. Where he's trying to explain it in a way that doesn't make it sound like he's sweeping.
That DeOiro, I guess, would pre-watch a Kuihman stream before his own stream.
All right, look at the way he struggles through this.
Memorize the part of Ethan's stream that he's going to cover that night. Here, hold on. I'm laughing so hard, man. Hold on! You fucking asshole. You fucking prick. Kuihman's, by the way, been farming me all week. He's been like, oh, you better cover this. Well, let me think about this for a minute. Let me use my brain, okay? He's just look at the clip. All right. DeOiro pre-watched Kuihman.
I don't necessarily think that's the case, by the way. He could just watch the show.
Anticipated this retarded point that Ethan Klein made. Then he memorized where Ethan Klein complains about that clip in his own stream. Or sorry, he memorizes where Ethan Klein complains about it. Then he goes live. While he's streaming, remembers that Ethan's about to bring up the retarded Nazi salute thumbnail point. Comes up with an...
I think he basically went in with the goal of not engaging with the lawsuit. And that's part of it. Now, I don't know whether it was just calculated, I don't know whether he saw stuff beforehand, if he memorized it, if he just knew it was coming up, or what. He went in, his objective was to not engage with the actual substance of the lawsuit. And so he just talks in generalities. He says it's not a good idea. He doesn't actually come down on any judgments about the actual merits of the arguments. He'll talk about stuff sort of like tangentially. He'll say like, "Oh, I don't know if this is opinion," or he'll say something like that. He'll never actually come down on any firm conclusions about the merits, and he will never take a moral position. He will never say, "This is wrong. Ethan's a liar. He's doing something horrendous here." He'll never do that.
Excuse on the spot that Mudahar's full name is on screen.
But yeah, the point in that stream was just to avoid actually engaging. He was kicking the can down the road, like he did initially, because that's the whole point of his initial Noah take, is to kick the can down the road and hope it doesn't happen. Basically, to say I'm okay with the threat. We'll see how I feel about the lawsuit. Kick the can down the road. Doesn't have to evaluate it actually, even as a retarded position to take. And you should have to evaluate the lawsuit to actually, or at least the principle of the lawsuit, and filing it to determine that. But he kicks the can down the road, he keeps going, gets to this point, and he wants to kick the can again. He wants to hope he can get through this segment without coming to any real firm conclusions, and then just move on, basically.
Skips over it. And that's just insane to me. That's just like, actually insane to me. Now, is that what happened? I don't know. The only thing, I do have a question for why DeOiro didn't cover that, though. Honestly, I do honestly question why DeOiro did not cover that. Like, because that to me is like just obvious. Now, maybe DeOiro didn't know. Maybe DeOiro didn't know that he was skipping over that segment, and maybe he didn't even know that the thumbnail was Ethan Klein's own thumbnail. Maybe he didn't know. But I mean, look, I can't blame people for being like, dude, this looks sus as fuck. I can't blame people for that, you know. But yeah, I mean, I just like, I don't know why. I don't know why you want to talk about that. I don't know why you want to bring this up. This just the point on its own that Ethan Klein, like, oh, Noah Samson painted me doing a Nazi salute. The big sweep is on. Pull up the clip. All right, send me the fucking clip and I'll watch it. How is the big sweep on when I'm just talking about it openly? Pull the clip up. Or post the... Somebody send it to me. Put it in the chat. Let me try to find it myself. Let's see here. Twitter. All right, is this it? This is the clip in question.
Thumbnail and title of the video itself. The thumbnail for the defamatory video initially depicts four online...
Name one time I have lied about what Dan does, Sid. One time. Please. When have I even been wrong? Even wrong. I'll accept wrong. I'll let you reformat that to be wrong. When have I even been wrong? I say exactly what Dan does all the time. Fuck you.
Content creators. Ethan, Mudahar.
There's Mudahar. Dude, Mudahar full docs is in here.
This arbiter of truth.
Now, this is not a full docs, by the way. Mudahar's name is public, and I can prove that. You go to twitch.tv, some ordinary gamers. Let me see here. My name is Mudahar Nas, and I operate the channel Some Ordinary Gamers. So,
wow.
Mudahar's name is public, just to make it clear.
Dude, what happens that he skipped?
All right, let me back this up.
Mudahar.
There's Mudahar. Dude, Mudahar full docs is in here.
This arbiter of truth.
Dude, what happens that he skips? Oh, dude, you can literally never prove this is intentional because of how he's done it. But man, does it look mad fucking suspicious. So, he says, skipping because Mutahar full docs is here. It's not. Mutahar's full docs is not there. This is Mutahar and us. Everyone knows that's Mutahar's name. Mutahar is public with his name. Nobody is confused about what Mutahar's name is. He's very public. He's public with his name. Mutahar's name is Mutahar and us. That is public. That is public information. That's been public information for years. And Nick must know as much. Nick must know that. But he says, dude, Mutahar full docs in here, skips 30 seconds as if he's trying to get away from Mutahar's name. But
Yeah, I was saying, this deserves a Willie Mac video.
Mutahar's name is still on the screen, but has skipped the part where Ethan claims that it's a Nazi salute in the thumbnail. Then, the second time that Ethan says it's a Nazi salute, Nick is pausing repeatedly and says something about Tom's dick.
Dude, I'm sorry, but why would he cover that? I'm sorry.
This whole segment, Augie the knows, first defamatory man. claim, Augie he has
knows.
completely avoided evaluating.
It's
crazy. This is crazy.
I
need Augie's take on it. Now, the big sweepers got on again. If Augie doesn't cover Nick's retarded cope in that video that you edited in. Let's go for a third time, the big sweepers. So stupid, man. When Augie comes back,
All right.
he is not talking about all this stuff. The big sweepers.
Do you see how difficult my job is? I'm being held at gunpoint over here. What the fuck?
No might. The big sweep is on. And this is a big sweep.
Dude, the Jews are trying to control me, and the anti-Jews are trying to control me.
This one needs a
man.
big sweep, okay?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue, though. It's so convenient. It's so convenient, dude. I'm sorry. But yeah. That's crazy, though. That's fucking crazy. It's definitely not a fucking Nazi salute. That's for sure. You just became the streaming as hard streamer. Yeah, but for totally different reasons. It's deliberate. Well, I mean, the only reason why I just find that hard to believe is just is it that difficult for Nick to just admit that Ethan has a retarded point there, right? Would that destroy the entire fucking stream if he admitted that Ethan Klein is lying about this one particular point? Would that really just... Oh, I can't mention that Ethan lied about this thumbnail thing. I can't mention that Ethan lied about this thumbnail thing because then my whole stream is ruined. It's why not? Why not mention that? He needs heedless super chats. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's fucking wild to me. Anyway. The thumbnail depicted Ethan performing a Nazi salute to the Israeli flag. To the Israeli flag, too. It's crazy. Sometime after its release, the content creator Lonerbox heavily criticized Samson's poor research. We got something coming in here.
Can you please go on stream where you and your chat isn't me riding DeOrio? It's almost kick stream.
You and our chat isn't meat riding Dior. How am I meeting DeOiro? I'm covering the fucking cover up, dude. I'm covering it. I'm showing it on stream. Sometime after its release, the content creator Lonerbox heavily criticized Samson's poor research and misrepresentations in the defamatory video. Out of retaliation, Samson changed the thumbnail of the defamatory video to include an image of Lonerbox, despite Lonerbox not appearing in the video at all. A true and correct screenshot of the thumbnail and its title for the defamatory video is pictured below. Now, it's interesting to me that he shows like evidence of the thumbnail in this video, but when he said stuff like how Noah Samson talks about how Israelis should all be killed or whatever, right? He includes no evidence for that. That's crazy to me. The second defamatory statement is Samson's false factual assertion that Ethan spreads atrocity propaganda. He shares the Hamas mass rape hoax, the same hoax that was used by the Western media, the U.S. government, and the Israeli government to justify genocide. The third defamatory statement is that Samson's false factual assertion that Ethan spreads overt misinformation, straight up lies about Hezbollah and Ansar Allah in order to delegitimize their struggle against the Israeli genocide.
Okay.
He cites basic claims from the Saudi state propaganda outlets to attack the Houthis. He also cites a documentary.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that was real.